Activision has really done a fantastic job with this generation with their old IPs, bringing back old 90s classics with a brand new lick of paint as well as fixing some small issues to make for a perfect trip down memory lane. It all started off with the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy in 2017, and ever since then Activision has been doing a remake each year. The latest one was last month's brilliant Tony Hawk's Revival, which was a huge success. But now is the time for a completely brand new entry in the Crash Bandicoot franchise, which is what I think Activision's strategy has been all along when they started out with these remakes. So without further ado, let's see if Crash Bandicoot 4 was worth the wait. We'll start off with the story first, and the game is set after the events of Crash 3, and it is a direct sequel to the beloved PS1 trilogy, and basically acts like the non-Naughty Dog games didn't exist. The tale sees villains Neo Cortex and Entropy breaking free of their prison and causing all sorts of mayhem by messing about with the different timelines. So it's up to Crash, his sister Coco, and a few other friends to stop Cortex and Trophy one more time. Its story is daft and very enjoyable and mostly played for laughs, delivering plenty of funny moments. It's all good fun, and that's what a Crash story should be like. On to the gameplay now, and if you played the Insane trilogy, then you'll be pleased to know that the game follows the same sort of Crash Bandicoot gameplay style. You have your traditional mix of the Sonic backside gameplay that the series is well known for, and plenty of 2D side-scrolling sections to make for many creative and fun levels. This is partly due to the new quantum masks. We have 4 new masks here that grant Crash and Coco with new abilities. First up we have Lani Loli, which can phase shift items in and out of existence. Then we have Akano, which causes Crash to continually spin and allows him to jump and reach higher places. Continuing on, we have Kapuna, which can pause his time for a short while, which can help you jump onto nitro boxes and make hard to reach jumps. And finally, we have Ika Ika, which allow our bandicoots to defy gravity and walk on the ceiling. All these new masks and abilities are introduced throughout the adventure, and all have their time to show off how clever these new mechanics are. The final few levels, though, really test your abilities of using each mask, as you'll have to constantly be swapping them off on the fly to make for some of the most well-created and hard-level designs I've seen in a platform game for quite some time. It isn't just new abilities added to the game, as there's 3 new characters to play as. We have Cortex, Dingodile and Torna. These characters have their own introduction levels, as well as a few bonus side stories which are very fun to play, but you only play half the level as either Cortex, Dingodile or Torna, then the other half you have to play as Crash or Coco in the remixed versions of a mainline level, which is a bit of a shame. But playing as these new characters are a blast and a great take on the Crash Bandicoot formula. First up we have Cortex, who doesn't actually have a double jump but has a ray gun that can turn enemies into platforms as well as having a dash. Next up we have Torna. Crash's ex-girlfriend has a whole new look as she's from a different dimension, but her gameplay is a bit more action orientated as she can punch and kick, wall jump, and she's also got a grappling hook which she can use to defeat enemies, travel to hard to reach locations and smash very cleverly hidden boxes. Finally, we have my favourite new playable character, Dingodile. He has a vacuum gun which can suck up boxes and vacuum up TNT crates and then throw them at enemies or obstacles. He also has a hover jump that allows him to reach higher places, and he also has a tail spin to defeat enemies. His levels also contain a huge amount of boxes, as there's sometimes 300 or to 400 boxes per level, which is humongous. As I said before, the level design here is fantastically done, easing you in gently and then gradually ramping up the difficulty. If you just focus on going through the level and not doing any of the side bits, it's easy enough, but you'll notice the difficulty getting harder around the halfway point. But once you're on the final few worlds, this is where the true test of your platforming skills is shown. Even just to complete the final few levels can be a real challenge in itself. Each level has 6 gems, 3 from collecting a certain amount of Wumpa fruits, smashing all the boxes, finding the cleverly hidden gem and not dying more than 3 times. Doing all these in the level can provide a very steep challenge and does allow for quite a bit of replayability. It isn't just that, as you've got your time trial relics, which can be incredibly hard to get them platinum relics. Also there's these new death relic things that see you trying to smash all the boxes without dying, and again this is an incredibly hard challenge, and if you can get all them death relics then you're a master platformer and I salute you. When you first start off the game you have the option to choose either modern or retro mode. Retro mode is essentially like the Insane trilogy where you have a limited amount of lives and then if you lose them all it's game over. Whilst in modern mode you can die for as many times as you like, you just have a death counter in the top right corner telling you how many times you've died. As for me, you've gotta go for the modern mode. Some of the later levels were hard, but thanks to the infinite lives of the modern mode, it was bearable. So don't play it on retro mode, pick modern mode, and you'll have much more fun. The game's 35 mainline story levels offer a great amount of challenge, but that isn't it for levels, as around halfway through the game you unlock the inverted levels for all the game's levels. This is where the game, as you can guess, inverts the levels, redo a few things up, and also adds a cool new graphical filter. These vary from levels being all pixelated, levels where you have to paint the scenery, to ones where you have to spin to reveal all the hazards in your path. It's a cool idea and it's a fun spin on a well-known level. Each of these invert levels also have their own collection of gems too, so there's plenty of excuses to go back. Finally, we have the flashback tapes, which are cool little platform and puzzle stages that take us right back to 1996 when Cortex was testing on Crash and Coco. These levels are unlocked when you first find the VHS tapes hidden in a stage, but you mustn't die until you reach the tape or you'll have to replay the stage again. These stages are magnificent and are truly fiendish to complete. Essentially, these are puzzles and you have to trigger stuff in the right time and sequence to complete the level and ultimately get all the boxes. These levels are fantastic and you really do feel proud when you finish them, but they're not for the faint-hearted. When the game's price was first announced, I was actually quite shocked to see how much Activision was charging for it. At a full £50 price tag, I was thinking, was it worth it for a Crash game? But thankfully there's a huge amount of content here for the price. Toys for Bob have thrown everything at this game, including hordes of levels, as for mentioned different characters, costumes, plenty of gems and relics to nab. To complete the mainline storyline, to take the main path, you're looking at a good 10 hours to complete it. But if you want to complete all the game's levels and ultimately get that elusive 106% to get the full ending, you're talking about 20 or 30 hours if not more. The extra content doesn't end there, as we have local multiplayer. The game main levels can be played with another player via pass and play. When you die or reach a checkpoint, you pass the controller on to the other player. It's a nice nod to how folks used to play games with their friends or siblings years ago. We also have Bandicoot Battle, which contains two modes, Checkpoint Race and Crate Combo. Both are rather fun little modes and a nice little addition if you want to play with a friend. Another great addition is all those gems you have to nab actually have a purpose, as if you gain so many in a stage, in both its normal and inverted style, you unlock many cool costumes for Crash and Coco, from pirate costumes, funny balloon ones, to even a lovely PS1 retro skin. They're great. And what's even better, there's no microtransactions whatsoever. These are unlocked through normal play and are a great incentive to go back. Presentation-wise, Crash Bandicoot 4 takes a new graphical art style over the Insane Trilogy, which did upset some fans when the game was first announced, and at first I was a bit unsure about it, but now, with the game in my hands, I absolutely love this new cartoony art style. It brings even much more character and detail to Crash and his friends. Levels are a huge step up from the Insane Trilogy, with so many things going on in the background, and the variety on offer really does give you plenty of eye candy. As for the frame rate, there's quite a bit of difference between the base and the enhanced consoles. On the base PS4 and Xbox One, we're looking at an unlocked frame rate that hopes to reach 60 FPS but never reaches it, mostly spending its time in the mid to late 30s. It's a bit of a jarring experience, but on the PS4 Pro and the One X, it's 60 FPS and thankfully it sticks to it pretty much all the time, only dropping a couple of frames in busy sections. Overall, Toys for Bob have done a great job here technical wise, though I do think the load times are a bit too long. Thankfully, respawning when you die is instant, but with the new consoles coming in just over a month, it does make you wonder if a next-gen patch is coming and what improvements it could bring. Hopefully, load times will be improved and maybe a boost to full 4K resolution will be included as well. Conclusion time now, and Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time is a very welcome return for the Bandicoot, delivering an incredibly enjoyable adventure with plenty of levels, with loads of variety and hours of content to go through. With new characters to players and new mechanics to keep things fresh, It's About Time is a truly wonderful time with plenty of challenge. Though there is occasions where there's a few cheap deaths, the frame rate is a bit uneven on base consoles and the load times are a little bit long. But don't let that put you off this truly exceptional effort from Toys for Bob's. So with that, I'm giving Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time a 9 out of 10 with the title of brilliant. As always, thank you for watching my review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you could like and subscribe, that would be fantastic. And until next time, happy gaming. Bye.